All right, I think we're ready to start. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Fireside Chat. My name is Claire, and I'll be one of your hosts for today. My co-host here is Grace. So let me first just briefly introduce our organization. We are STEM and Rose, a nonprofit organization that encourages non-binary and female students to explore and pursue STEM while supporting each other to create a close-knit community. And we usually host these things called Fireside Chats, where we invite a couple speakers who have experience in STEM, and we ask them some questions so they can, share their knowledge with the STEM community. So today we have two speakers, Alice Cheng and Elaine Tang. Alice, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alice, as Claire has just introduced. I recently graduated from the North Carolina School of Science and Math, and I'll be a freshman at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the fall. Um, in my free time, I like to rock climb, crochet, and hang out with friends. And I'm sure you'll learn more about me as this chat goes on.
Elaine, how about you? Can you also introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Elaine. I'm a rising sophomore at Georgia Tech. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and at school, my major is computer science, and I'm planning on a minor in business. And some of my hobbies include producing music, runway modeling, and also playing volleyball. And I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. All right, so we have some prepared questions for our speakers, but if you want to ask any specific questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end. So without further ado, let's get right into the question. So our first few questions are about the speaker's STEM journey. So firstly, can you just share a bit about your journey and why you chose to pursue a STEM major? Anyone can go first.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. Um, I think for me, I really started loving STEM starting in middle school. I did quite a few clubs, like I dabbled in like math counts, and I tried doing science Olympiad, but I think I found that I really enjoyed the STEM classes at my school, and I gravitated towards choosing STEM electives over humanities electives. And I think that kind of solidified my interest in STEM and why I continued to choose a STEM major, because I found that I struggled a lot more in like my humanities electives. So, and I kind of built off like after I did clubs in middle school, I started doing more and more extracurriculars that had a little bit more STEM base. Um, for example, I started learning a little bit of basic CS, and then that led me to try to join CS club at my school and then in participate in competitions that involved CS. So that helped me guide me towards my major in either CS or AI and decision making.
Yeah, for me, honestly, at first, at the beginning of like high school and all throughout middle school, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to study in college or do in the future, like many other students. I had a lot of ideas thrown around, like maybe business or economics or like other STEM like engineering majors. But I think I slowly developed an interest in STEM and specifically CS throughout high school. Our school didn't have a lot of like computer science clubs or classes, so I chose to take some outside of school. And I think this one class that I took in my sophomore year, which was like an introduction to AI class, really sparked my interest in like pursuing STEM in the future. Like it was really difficult for me because before I only took relatively easy like coding classes, and I think it was like the hardships that I went through, like and discovering all this like new really cool stuff that really brought me into like studying STEM and CS.
It's really cool. Thanks for that. By the way, this is our other host, Jolin. She joined a little late, but she'll be taking some of the questions for today. Anyway,
Sorry.
okay, let's move on to our second question about the STEM journey. So, I know you guys have a lot of extracurricular activities, and a lot of the people here might also have a lot of extracurricular activities. So, how did you manage your time between schoolwork and those activities?
Um, I can go first this time. I don't think I ever had like a really big issue with time management or procrastination, but I really like to be organized. Like I have a daily planner and like keep track of what my goals were for that day and what I want to get done. And also like an advice that I have is that if you have like a big project or a big assignment you will need to finish by a deadline, like splitting it up into smaller parts and like completing it like step by step is a really good way to manage your time. Make sure you don't get like overwhelmed and stuff.
Yeah, I agree on that. I'm a big Google Calendar user, and I found it really helpful to like block out time for when I was going to do things, especially around my extracurricular events, and like just putting them on the calendar so I'm kind of reminded that okay, during this certain time period I'm going to be busy. And for me, since my extracurriculars were quite um scheduled, like they were pretty much the same every week, especially like regarding their time. I kind of like built up a rhythm to it where I knew like, okay, when and what times I would actually have time to work. And I kind of planned my time and projects around that. And I am a little bit of a procrastinator, but I found that it was really helpful for me to almost like imagine the deadline to be earlier than it was. So I would be done like slightly early and feel like I got a bunch of free time out of that. And it was kind of like my reward for doing my work.
That's great. Yeah, that's very helpful. It seems like organization is a big part of like managing these activities. So, next about the sim journey. On a similar note, how did your hobbies such as crocheting and rock climbing for Alice or music and runway modeling for Elaine, how did those impact your STEM journey?
I can go. Um, well, as a rock climber, a lot of what we do in climbing is being faced with an unfamiliar climb, and we have to kind of solve it. And I kind of treated that's quite similar to solving problems like in like a STEMmy way. Like you're given a problem, you have to analyze it from multiple perspectives, and then you try different strategies to try to combat it. So I found a lot of similarities between climbing and STEM that I mentioned when I was like when I began applying for colleges. I kind of built off of that similarity and incorporated my hobby into my essays. But that was one thing. And then similar with crocheting, there's a lot of patterns and like it's kind of like systematic and routine. So they were like both ends of the STEM section. Like there's like stuff that's right or wrong, and then there's also like a problem solving process that I had to get used to.
Yeah, I agree with Alice with the rock climbing. My friends have recently gotten me into it, and there's like many pathways you can take, and it's like you have to like think a lot about like which one you want to take. But for me, um, my hobbies were like music and runway modeling. So music actually did impact my decision to like study CS, and I did write about it quite a lot in my applications. And specifically, I think I really loved listening to music ever since I was small. And throughout elementary and middle school, I would compose like piano pieces every year. And in high school, I started producing like electronic music too. And I wanted to find a way that I could like combine my two interests of like music and computer science together. And like I did some research online on like some programs that colleges have, and a lot of schools do do this type of research, like researching how AI can compose music or how um, new technology and music can like kind of intersect. So that's something I'm definitely like really excited about. And in the fall, I'm gonna be joining this research group at my school that deals with this. And specifically, they like they create robots that perform music and like create music. And I think there's also a bit of AI involved too, so I'm really excited about that. And then for runway modeling, honestly, that seems like a big stretch how like modeling and STEM can be like intersecting or yeah, but I think it indirectly affected my pathway because I think runway modeling really helped me increase my confidence in myself. Um like to not care about like what other people say about me or what other people think about me as I like walk down the runway. I think that builds a lot of self-confidence and just like doing what you enjoy doing, like choosing your pathway, um, and doing the things that you love. So I think that's how runway modeling like indirectly affected me. Yeah.
That's awesome. It seems like these hobbies, which are like they look like they're unrelated, can actually be like intertwined with STEM in a lot of different ways. So are you guys planning to continue pursuing these hobbies in college? Like, are you going to like keep rock climbing every week or like keep composing music or no?
I definitely like to keep up with it since it's such a fun activity. I probably won't be doing it as much as intensely as I've been doing it now, where I like compete often. But um, like USA Climbing has like a collegiate series, so I think I might just take part in that, but not compete in youth or elite anymore.
Yeah, same. I think I'll definitely still be continuing, especially like producing music, but probably less so because there's a lot of stuff you do in college too.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's move on to our last question about the STEM journey. Can you share an experience where you faced a significant setback in your STEM journey and how you dealt with it?
Um, for me, I think my STEM journey has more been like a steady pace. I'm not sure if there's been like a huge setback that really hurt me, but I guess I can talk about like as I mentioned before, like the one AI class that got me into like studying CS before. I think that was my first like kind of setback. Because before everything was like pretty smooth and like easy for me, like learning like basic coding and stuff. But to be faced with such like a hard challenge, like learning so much new technology and like languages and stuff, I was overwhelmed. But being able to get through that, I think it made my like love for computer science stronger for sure.
Yeah, I agree with Elaine. I don't know if there's a very significant setback that I faced, but there are like smaller, like a collection of smaller ones. And I think with like how she mentioned a class that set her back, I agree with that. Like facing, a subject that you've always been really good at and relatively good at, the first time you take a class that's hard in that subject, it kind of throws you back into reality and you're like, oh, like this is difficult. And it kind of disrupts your flow. For me, I switched schools between my sophomore and junior years of high school, but my base high school had very few classes that were STEM related and high level. So I remember when I requested for classes, I almost didn't get any of the classes I requested for, and it made me really upset. I think like one classes I wanted to take was just AP Computer Science A, and I was not given that. And I felt like, oh, I'm super behind everyone else now. And I think I tried to email the AP coordinator to see if I could just take the test um, by itself, like exam only, and then I never got a reply. So that was quite upsetting. But um, so a lot of like course selection stuff. But then, in response to that, I started looking for online resources and like external classes that I could take to aid my STEM journey and some other ones. Other than that, it would be like, procrastination and just like not like I'd have my mind on a goal, like I want to learn this course so I can like skip it or pass it, and then I would forget to study for it or not leave enough time to study for it. And it would be like, oh, I kind of wasted the year and I didn't really like use my time wisely. So I would definitely um if you set your mind to like studying for something and you want to do it, you should go through with it and like make it worth your time. Don't study, just don't do it halfway. Like if you're not going to do it, then just don't do it. Or if you're going to do it, then you should put all your effort into it.
Great. Yeah, those setbacks sound really hard, but it's really nice how you manage to overcome them. And I think they're probably pretty relatable to our audience here. Like what you mentioned about the course selection stuff. Some of these people, they might request some courses but not get them. And then they could feel like they're behind or they're like not on the right track to college anymore because they planned out everything and now it's messed up. Um, but I think you really showed them how to just keep going and how it's not the end of the world. So, speaking of college, we're now going to move on to our next set of questions about college. And Jolin, do you want to take these questions?
Yeah, sure. So, we were like just talking about college. So this is kind of the part that like a lot of, I guess, high schoolers are get a little like excited about. So, how did you like decide which colleges to apply to, and what factors were the most important in your decision-making process?
Um, for me, I looked at a lot of like what the school had to offer, which is kind of a basic answer, but mainly for me, I at that point I was interested in like um, environmental engineering and like applications of AI and environmental science. So for most of these schools, I would look at like their civil and environmental engineering departments and look at the projects they worked on, especially like certain professors that had something related to what I wanted to do. So I would have something to like write about in my application and see if they would, be able to provide for me there. Um, and there was also the aspect of considering like a lot of times people will divide schools into like a work hard school or like a play hard school. So like a school that has like, more focused on social life and like partying and one that's like fully based on studying. And I wanted to like find schools that had somewhat of a balance, that were like work hard and play hard, and not just like fully just, oh, okay, this is like a party school or like this is a study school. But you can't really divide a school in that binary because it's like all subjective to how you spend your time at the school. But I think I ended up applying to like Georgia Tech, UIUC, CS, UNC Chapel, my base university, and MIT.
Yeah, for me, I think by the time that I started my college search, I knew that I wanted to study CS. So I just looked into a lot of the top colleges with really good computer science programs. And I basically applied to a lot of those schools. And I think for personal preference, because everybody has their own like things that they want to see in a college. For me, I really like being outdoors, as you can see from my background. And I really wanted like a large walkable campus that had a lot of greenery so I could like walk through campus every day and just enjoy it. I really like that vibe. So that's what I looked for. And I also wanted to be it in a city. Because with a city, there's like a lot of good opportunities, and a lot of stuff nearby that you can do. So that's my personal preference for like campus and location. And then like Alice said, I definitely wanted it to be a blend of like work hard, play hard, like not just like just studying every day. And I wanted there to be like a lot of social opportunities, a lot of like clubs and yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to add that. I did definitely consider location. I wanted a campus that had like easy commute to get off of it because I wouldn't want, the campus to be like stranded as like an island and then you have to drive like 30 minutes to the nearest city. So I definitely considered like having a walkable campus and being able to have stuff to do, off and around campus. So I looked at schools and cities as well. And also like, the environment because you're going to be living there for 4 years. So you definitely want to enjoy the environment you're staying in.
Thank you so much. That was a really like interesting answer from both of you. Follow-up question that wasn't in the script. Do you have anything special to like promo about MIT and Georgia Tech, like the campus, the vibe, or like is there anything special you guys like?
Okay, I can go.
I guess
Oh
oh
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. Oh, okay. I think I've been on campus for 1 year now, and I really like the vibes. I think I did my research well. I think one special part is all of the computer science or like STEM related opportunities that you're given. Like there's several large like hackathons on campus every year. And last fall, I participated in my first hackathon. It was like called Hack GT, and it's like a huge event on campus. Like a lot of people participated in it, and it's hosted over like a weekend in our like computer science building. And I think that was a really special moment for me. Like forming a team with my friends, like finding what we're gonna create for the weekend. Also, like um, pulling an all-nighter for the first time. That was a really good experience and really special for me. So yeah.
Wow, I can't believe that was your first time pulling an all-nighter. Um, for me, I haven't been on the campus for a year yet, but for the times I visited for orientation, I really like the location of MIT because it's right next to the Charles River. So there's a lot of really beautiful sights. And like when I was there, I saw like the sailing team, sailing there for fun. And I think they had an event where we could like join them, but I got the times mixed up. So I really like the campus, and it's next to it's really close to Boston, and everything is like bikeable on campus. Like there's just bike paths everywhere, so it's really really easy to get from one place to another. And there's just so many cool little shops in Boston to explore, and I really like that. Can't wait to explore next year.
That sounds so exciting. Now I like really want to go to Georgia Tech and MIT. But second question, for like the college related section, how did you like showcase your interest in STEM like in your applications? Were there any specific projects or experiences you highlighted somewhere, like whether it's like your activities or your essays, etc.?
Yeah, so talked about my experience with like my AI and computer science classes. And I think a big part that I highlighted was my interest in exploring like music and computer science combined, because I think that's one thing that set me apart from other applicants. And I did create a portfolio of like my music compositions, and I sent it to those colleges if they accepted portfolios alongside like writing about like the programs that those colleges offered that were like similar to my interests. So yeah.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I kind of mirrored my climbing with STEM. So I typically wrote like a little anecdote about climbing and then how that related to how I tackled STEM problems. And for me, since I was applying as like environmental engineering, that studied like, with volcanology and like climate predictions, I hadn't actually really done anything on that, but I did do a small research project in junior year on like automatic heart irregularity detection. Um, and so I kind of like talked about how I was introduced to predictive modeling and then how I wanted to continue to do that and like explore its other applications, such as in environmental science and other things. So I wrote about that. And then obviously I included, the STEM clubs I participated in, and they were all like whatever awards I got related to those. And especially for like more STEM schools, like I would reorder my extracurriculars kind of based on what I think the school would appreciate more.
That's really helpful for us who are gonna like apply to college in a couple years or this year actually. Um, so what was like the most challenging part of your college application process and how did you overcome that?
I
Um,
think, oh,
you can go
oh,
ahead this time.
okay. I think the most challenging part for me was definitely like starting the essays. Because almost every time there's just like all these questions and you're looking at them, you're like, what do I even say? And um, so I think for me it helped. I kind of went on Google and I would just like read the ones that were online. But the questions have changed over the years, so it's like pretty good to get like a starting point. But I think like what college admission offers are looking for now is quite different from a couple years ago because now they really appreciate like succinct and like concise answers rather than like a really elaborate story. But for me, what I would do would be I would take small notes on like little experiences that I think would be able to help answer the questions. And then like as I wrote, I would see like which one came the most naturally. And um yeah, just basically getting started for me was the hardest part. Like once I found my flow, it was a little easier, but often it would take me like many days to like really like put my mind to like getting started and actually writing stuff of substance down.
Yeah, for me, I think it was something similar. I did have a hard time getting started, and I think the hardest part was like finding a way to like demonstrate or write about what you accomplished in these essays because you're always like clear yourself about like what you did throughout these years and what you want to show to like the people that are reading your application, but being able to put it into words like the best to like showcase yourself was hard for me. And I also thought about it a lot, and there's like different ways that you can write in these like essays or short responses. Sometimes I like wrote a story because I think my experiences like really fit like a storyline of like how I got into whatever and like what I did like with my interest in the end. But yeah, that was probably the hardest part, like finding a good way to like write about it.
Wow, that sounds like yeah, I think getting started will be a challenging part for a lot of people just because it's like such a big such a tremendous task to like get ahead of. Um, and yeah, I think this wraps up just like the specifics about like college apps and everything. And there are some more questions after this that I can have Grace take off. So if you want to switch over.
Hey, I really like the advice you guys gave. I think that will be really helpful for future applicants. We have a few specific questions for the two of you. Um, Alice, you're going into computer science and AI for like decision making. What made you initially interested in that? How did you get into it?
Yeah, of course. I think in high school, I was more of like a math kid in middle school, but in high school, I was starting to realize like pure math was definitely going to be difficult. And also, I didn't really enjoy math as much, just like by itself. And that's when I started looking into like outside of school computer science classes. And I just really liked, the problem solving part of that and how it was definitely more of like trial and error. Like you could actually visibly see your progress, like every time you ran your code. Um, you would almost be able to like kind of exactly pinpoint what went wrong or after like many tries figure out what went wrong, and then there was like a really nice rewarding feeling when your program runs the way you want it to. So I really enjoyed that thrill of like, ooh, I got the problem and I did it, and that kind of propelled me into computer science. And so then I participated in some small CS competitions on the side, small ones. Like I think our computer science club had a small um like club competition, just like small competitive programming tasks, and I really enjoyed that. And so that led me to jo apply for my school's research and computational science program. And that's where I got really exposed to like um, more computational science rather than just computer science, which is like, how can I use computers and apply them to scientific applications? And that's how I got introduced to artificial intelligence and decision making. And I just think it's really cool how, you can get a computer to mimic the way your brain thinks and um, work off of that and predict things. So I got really into like deep learning and like, you know, image processing. So having like a computer view the world the same way you do. And that just really interested me.
That's so cool how your interests sort of evolved over time to lead to where you are right now. I think that goes to show like our interests aren't fixed, and I guess you don't know where it's going to take you. That's really cool. Um, for Elaine, business and computer science are two very different fields. How do you see them complementing each other in your future career?
Yeah, so I think there's like a lot of different pathways or future careers that you can like pursue with a computer science degree. There's like you can be like a basic software developer or like go into cybersecurity, like data science, machine learning or AI. There's like a lot. I think one career path that I've like found recently that interests me is like becoming a product manager or someone that bridges the gap between like knowing the specific technology that a company is like doing, like researching or selling, and also like understanding the business side. That's something that's pretty like new and interesting to me. I've never really taken business classes in school. I've taken like an economics class, but I don't know if that counts in high school. But that's something that I'm looking into. Like I might start a business minor, and our school does have a minor that's specific towards technology and business. It's just for our like STEM majors, which is really cool. So I'll be able to take classes that really teach me about bridging this gap. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insight into your interests. I think we have a few more questions. Claire, if you'd like to take the stage.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, we just have a couple more questions just to finish this off. The first question is, what are your long-term career goals and how do you plan to use your STEM education to achieve these goals?
I can go first. Honestly, yeah, as I said before, there's so many different pathways you can pursue with computer science. And right now, I'm still keeping my options open because I'm still like early in my college career. But I could see myself, doing some like business and technology, like a combination of that. But I am interested, like Alice, in like new technology or like innovation, like AI or machine learning. So I might want to like do something similar, or like yeah, contribute to that field or like pursue something that's like innovative.
Yeah, I would agree that we're both quite early into our college careers, and college or university is all about exploring what you want to do. And especially for me, we don't have to decide our major until freshman year is over. So I'm still basically exploring. Like I could very much be doing something very different at the end of this school year. Um, but I think for me, I definitely am going to have STEM in my future. Um, I want to definitely, yeah, we'll see. My future I right now is consisting of like a job that's going to utilize CS and possibly AI. And maybe I'll get into a little bit of finance. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, that's great. It is true that you guys are still young and you're not really sure exactly what you want to do, but I think that we can all be sure that your education will be a pretty big help to your future. And I think with the direction you guys are going right now, you're gonna have a pretty bright future. Anyway, next question, and this is also the last question. Is there any advice about STEM overall or college application specifically, if you want, that you would like to share with future STEM students, like the people in our audience today?
I guess for some advice, I think me and Alice have already said this a lot of times, but really like explore the field a lot because STEM, a lot of the aspects of STEM, you can like combine them a lot. Like you can explore like the intersection of a lot of them. So really just like explore the field a lot. There's like a lot of options. You don't have to settle on one option immediately. And I think throughout college, you'll be given the opportunity to do that a lot. And I guess for college application advice, I'd say this is kind of cliche, but do your research for your college as well. Really put a lot of thought into your college list. And I think whether you apply like early decision or early action or regular decision does make a difference. So it's important to put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, I agree that, for almost any field, it's never going to be purely that field. You're always going to be having an intersection of different fields. So, it's definitely really important to open up your mind to different fields and like be prepared to do some sort of interdisciplinary study. And um, for me, I guess for college applications, um, I would really focus on like becoming like a holistic candidate rather than like purely focusing on like your STEM aspect because it like colleges want to see the whole your whole picture and you're not defined by like your achievements in like STEM and you don't need to have like some crazy, you know, like national winner type status on any type of your extracurriculars. Like as long as you can show that, you know, you have a personality and you have other interests, like that makes you a really good candidate for any of these top schools. So like don't be discouraged if you don't have like some type of crazy achievement in like one one of your like a STEM field or related task. And yeah, like even if you feel like it's insignificant, I feel like a lot of times like these small little anecdotes or like small fun facts about yourself really make the college admissions officer see you as a person and they definitely helps your application.
All right. Thank you guys so much for all that amazing advice. I think it'll be really helpful to our audience. I know like both of the things said first about interdisciplinary learning, that's really important. Like, if you just pursue one field, you might not get that far, but if you try to combine it or interweave it with another field, it'll really like bring you to new places. And also with the thing about not just, you know, like having to have perfect, amazing things like in everything. You know, some of the people in the audience might think, oh, I have to write so many research papers and I have to like pass a bill to get into these top schools. But honestly, you're an example that shows you don't have to do something like crazy and out of this world. Just be authentic, be yourself, and you'll do great. Okay, so that wraps up our prepared questions for today. We are now moving on to the audience Q&A. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the chat, if you have any questions at all for the speakers, feel free to just send them in the chat and we'll answer them. We also have some questions already from the audience, so I think we can jump right into that. The first question from our audience today is that I heard that STEM students have to be really good at math. My math grade is good, but I never participated in math competitions. Can I still pursue STEM?
At least for me, I feel like that oh
Go ahead.
okay. Um it definitely you do not need to be doing like like you yes, if you want to do math competitions, of course go ahead. I kind of feel like it depends on like what you want to do. Like if you want to study like math, it probably will be helpful to have, you know, some a little bit of math competition experience. But if you're just pursuing like pure STEM like engineering or like technology, you really don't need any math competitions for that. I feel like having a strong math foundation is good, but it does not need to be like reflected in like competition results. And at least for me at my school, out of everybody who got into MIT, um I think I was the only one who had any experience in math competitions. So, you know, that goes to show that it definitely like math competitions do not like make or break your application for STEM.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, yeah, my math has always just been good. It hasn't been like super extraordinary or anything. I didn't compete in any math competitions. So I think for like STEM related majors like CS, all you need is like a good base because there is still quite a bit of math that deals with CS, especially with like AI and like machine learning. But all you need is that good base. I don't think you need to like have like super really great math competition scores or anything.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I think some people might think, oh, I have to participate in all these math competitions and win some awards to really pursue STEM. But, you know, you guys have shown them that it's not like super important to excel like really well in math to pursue STEM. All you have to do is have a good base, as Elaine put it. Next, let's move on to our next audience question. I'll get that to Jolin.
Yeah. So someone put in the chat, there are societal perceptions and stereotypes about STEM students being nerdy or geeky. these myths kind of influence some people's decisions to enter STEM fields. Both of you perfectly demonstrated creativity and diversity and interests outside of your academic pursuits in STEM. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think you don't gotta let other people's perceptions of you influence what you decide to do in the future. Like even if you come off as more nerdy or geeky, like that's just you, so you don't have to like hide any part of that. But yeah, I think for me, I have my own geeky side. Like I really love computer science. I love coding. I'm behind my computer all the time. Um, but I also have my like creative side with music and my modeling. So personally, I do think I have like a pretty good balance between the two sides.
Yeah, I feel like, it's called a stereotype for a reason. So like we all know like it's not entirely like true. And especially I think it's like very subjective to like what you consider very or like an extremely nerdy or geeky person. So especially with like these fields, like you always be able to find your crowd at your school, like the people who kind of enjoy each side almost the same amount as you. And if you find some people out of your comfort zone, you don't have to become friends with them. And I don't think that should steer you away from pursuing STEM because you're going to be able to find people that you want to be with and the experience will be just as good. And you also shouldn't stereotype them before you even meeting them because, they could just be very passionate about their hobby and like the way it comes, you shouldn't judge them by how they express their interests.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I think next we can move on to Grace's question. It's the next question that was asked in the chat.
Thank you. From our audience, we've had another question. Have you encountered any myths when you grew up suggesting that girls are naturally less capable in STEM subjects compared to boys? Or that STEM fields are male-dominated environments, which could affect the confidence of STEM girls considering STEM majors? How would you respond to a claim like that?
I think growing up I've definitely heard like a lot of stereotypes, especially with like STEM being a male dominated field. And I think that was definitely true in the past. And it might partly still be true right now, but I think it's definitely getting a lot better, like the balance between male and female. And like personally, I have had an encounter with that stereotype. I think it was my first computer science class in high school. It was like AP Computer Science Principles or like AP Computer Science A. I forgot. But I walked in, I was like excited because um our school doesn't have a lot of CS classes. So I was just excited to be able to like be in this class and like learn about CS. And I walked in and I realized I was the only girl in the class. And like that really just shocked me because it was just like a bunch of guys and the teacher was also a guy. So that was definitely like pretty surprising to me at first, but it like I got used to it eventually. But I think with like organizations like these, like this nonprofit, like having girls like support each other, building each other's confidence, and like kind of nurturing each other's interest in STEM, like this is like really important. I think it's definitely like been helping.
Yeah, growing up, I think in like elementary school, I fully thought that girls' capabilities were stronger because I feel like all the guys in my class would just goof off and have fun. But I think as I grew up, I did realize how like, the perspective started to shift and like especially in like academic competitions, you would see like many more guys in the top rankings than girls. But uh I don't think that's true because everybody has their strengths in their like has strengths in different things. Like maybe they're purely their abilities to solve might be better, but then, someone else might be able to find more approaches to the same problem and have more creative strategies. So it's like very diverse and spread out, and it can't really be just like, oh, simply like a guy's or a boy's capability is better than a girl's. And I yeah, like I really relate to the experience that Elaine brought up about being the only girl. Like in one of my like recent these classes that I took at my school, I think there was only like 4 girls compared to like 20 guys. So it's kind of interesting. But I feel like if anything, that should motivate you rather than steer you away from STEM. Like it should motivate you to become, you want to be a force of change and bring more women into the field. So I think it can be seen like as a motivation.
I think it's really cool how you said it's like a nuanced topic. Girls are better at some things and boys are better at some things. But I also relate to the experience of being one of few girls in a very male-dominated room. It's a little bit intimidating, but what's really interesting is girls will tend to, like you said, support each other and make sure everyone is like feels welcome, even if the percentage is not even. Um, thank you for that. Claire, if you'd like to take the next audience question.
Yeah, for sure. So, you guys both mentioned AI a little bit while you were responding to the previous questions. And our next question is about that. There is an opinion that AI will replace some types of job gradually, like programmers, for example. Can you share your vision on the future job or career opportunities for the graduates of computer science majors?
Yeah. Oh, okay, I'll go. I definitely think that is a concern that a lot of people have now. Like everyone's talking about how like AI is going to replace jobs, like maybe basic programming jobs. And like the technology is being developed really fast. But personally, I think there is still quite a bit way to go until like AI can like completely take over like these types of jobs. So I think for now, like we're all good. But in the future, I guess if AI is gonna replace jobs, then you gotta be the people that like replace. You know, I personally think getting into like an innovative field or like um getting into AI, getting into machine learning will be really beneficial for like a lot of people. So that's why a lot of people are like at my school especially um everyone's getting into like taking AI and ML classes. I think they started like a new minor specifically. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the AI and decision making major was created at MIT as of like last year. It's very new. And I do I do see like it's obvious that AI is like has the capabilities of replacing like entry level jobs now. But I feel like there's always going to be a need for someone to fine tune this AI or to oversee these jobs. So even if it's like no, the manual work is done, like a lot of like the management, like creative side might still need to be done by humans. And I feel like by the time like AI is able to replace programmers completely, like AI can probably replace, not just limited to programmers, like probably other jobs too. So it's kind of like it's like a far-fetched idea. Like I'm thinking like by that point, AI is just gonna replace everything. So it's still more fresh right now, so I'll worry about that if my job gets taken away later.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Thank you guys. Um, I think we can all see that AI is growing really fast right now, and it's going to be a huge part in all of our futures. But, as you said, I think if we just continue to keep growing along with it, learning about AI, we'll probably be okay. So let's move on to our next audience question. I'll give that to Jolin.
Thank you. So, can you guys like share your most significant awards or achievements you had in some of your like extracurriculars? for like applying to college?
Yeah, I can go first. I think most significant achievement wasn't exactly STEM related, so that's probably why I didn't really talk about it before. But I was the founder of a nonprofit organization that teaches young kids about national parks and environmental protection through an online game. Um, so I like founded a nonprofit and I recruited a bunch of volunteers to research national parks, and we put all of that information onto an online website that and that website was like formatted in a kid-friendly or a game format, um, so that kids could learn more about national parks. And I think my inspiration for this, or like why I wanted to found like create this nonprofit, was that I've always like loved traveling and like exploring the outdoors as a kid, and I would like have the opportunity to go to a lot of national parks, and it like really enjoy nature and be in nature. But I found out that a lot of kids don't have this opportunity to like go to national parks in person. So I wanted kids to be able to still like experience and learn about national parks like online. So that's why I created that nonprofit, and we were able to get like a hundred or so kids like using the game, and also I introduced it to my high school like lower school curriculum, and also like local summer camps for kids. So I think that was definitely the extracurricular that I spent the most time on throughout my entire high school. It's not exactly STEM related, but I think it does demonstrate like my passion for like the environment and like my dedication. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, Elaine. I love national parks as well and going outside, so that seems really sweet and wholesome. For me, the Common App, I don't know, like for, people who are applying, it has like two sections. It has like a section for purely like academic honors and then like extracurricular activities where you list stuff. And, for me, I actually really struggled with the academic honors section because most of my ECs were more like community focused. I guess my application was leaning towards more, I wanted to show them like I was an active member of my community and like I participated in a lot of school things. I think 4 or 5 out of my 10 extracurriculars were actually just all school related, like club leaders or like committee, I was like on my school's Asian Student Association committee and like organized like cultural festivals at my school. But achievements wise, like I never really completely excelled in like any one of the STEM fields. Like math, I think the highest I got to was like AIME. I didn't get into any of the O's. And then CS wise, I wrote about like participating in the American Computer Science League, but that's more of like a self-paced competition. Um, I think, yeah, my number one thing would definitely be climbing, since I am a competitive rock climber. So I highlighted that I was at the national level and, participated in like national competitions there to show that I had other stuff there. But yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. This is going to be really helpful for us. Yeah, so the next question, I'll hand over to Grace.
Hi. One of our audience members is interested in the effects of AI on their hobbies. They said a lot of girls have hobbies that are currently being replaced by AI, like graphic arts, animation, performing arts, etc. Can these hobbies still help these girls develop an interest in STEM clubs and activities and benefit them in their STEM work and achievements?
I Well, I really despise like AI art or AI like creative works. And so I feel like if it becomes more prevalent, at least right now, you can still tell when something is being AI generated. So I feel like that calls for that just means like having a true graphic designer who can actually hand design things is going to become even more valuable. And so I don't think like it should stop you from doing your hobby, especially if you enjoy it. And like right now, since AI has definitely not caught up to like um human the human ability, there's still a pretty wide field for it. And yeah, I don't think it's ethical for art AI to generate art, and I feel like um now it's like a different topic.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Alice. Like the technology is not like it's still not quite there at the point where like it's take completely taken over like all creative um like like music or like arts or anything else. And that definitely should not deter you from pursuing these hobbies. Like Alice said, I think also colleges will appreciate if you talk about these hobbies, like showing that you like have a genuine interest in this field is also like really beneficial too.
Thank you for your insight. I think AI art is controversial and it's gonna be more controversial in the future. But I agree. Will probably still, I think human artists will always have value because they bring something AI can't. Claire, if you would like to take the last question.
Yes, so our audience has just one last question. There's a pressure on high school students that they have to start early. Did you have to deal with this pressure? How important do you think it is to start early in the college application process?
For me personally, I've definitely dealt with this pressure. Everyone around me was like, some people were like, I've already finished my Common App, and I was like, whoa, like I haven't even looked at the prompts yet. But I'm definitely different from Elaine in this aspect because I was a really big procrastinator. So while everyone was starting, I felt a lot of pressure, but I couldn't bring myself to start. And so I think something that's helpful to do uh like early in the college application process is to organize your extracurriculars. I think essays, um, one they don't really take that long to write, and I feel like if you leave a couple of weeks, once you write it, you just have to edit it, and then you can almost like repurpose your essays, like especially the ones about yourself and your personal hobbies for like many schools. So like having like a couple like base templates you can like work off from was really helpful for me. But yeah, I think because my 11th and 12th grade school required an application that like I had to apply in 10th grade, by then I had kind of a draft of like my extracurriculars and that I own, and then like every year I just built off of that and like refreshed it with newer things that I did. And so that made it really easy to like, list and then prioritize the 10 that I wanted to include in my application. So mainly just like organizing like your awards and then which extracurriculars that you do and kind of like keeping track of how long you spend on them too per week. That's helpful. But you don't like there's no need to start like super early. Like if you start considering it like spring of junior year in high school, like from then on, you'll be good.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, a lot of high schoolers these days are definitely dealing with this pressure because the competition is getting more and more fierce. Like, people are starting earlier and like doing a lot more. If you like compare applicants from like, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago to applicants right now, like, I think the difference is like so drastic. And I definitely did feel that pressure, like to start early or like pressure with just extracurriculars, maybe not just starting college applications early, but like doing some extracurriculars or doing like pursuing hobbies or like doing clubs at school, all of that stuff. But I do agree with Alice. Like for college applications specifically, there is no need to start super early. I started like junior, like somewhere before my senior year, I think, which is like when basically everyone starts, I think. But I guess it's good to be thinking about like what direction you want to take in the years coming up, or like slowly building up all of your like the things you're going to talk about in the application. That is pretty important, but you shouldn't feel like too much pressure to have a lot to show already in like your first couple years or first few years of high school. I don't think that's super necessary.
Yeah, I think like for me too, I started in the summer before my senior year, and a lot of my application ended up including like experiences I had that like particular summer. And so, more advice I would give would be to try like think back to experiences that really moved you or like you feel is significant because it might not be like it might not seem significant overall, but like if it had like an emotional or like personal impact on you, like that is the stuff you want to be writing about in your college applications. So I don't think there's like you don't need to worry about starting early because there's just you'll experience so many more things like as time goes on and especially like onto like regular decision, like you'll have all of first semester senior year experiences to include. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys for that answer. I think a lot of people feel this pressure starting early, whether that be from their parents, other students that are starting early, or their teachers. But I think you really showed how you can like overcome that pressure and how it's not like as important as people say to start early. All right, so that's it for our fireside chat today. Thank you so much to Alice and Elaine for taking the time to answer all these questions. You had awesome responses. Thank you for everyone in the audience as well for coming to listen. So for the audience, make sure to check out our Instagram and website to get notified for more fireside chats and other events. And yes, the handle and the link is in the chat. Oh, by the way, also you can join our Discord. It's public to everyone, and inside we'll just like notify you about more events, and we'll also just chat about STEM in general. All right, so make sure to stay tuned for our next fireside chat. See you next time. Bye.